Welcome to another episode of The Uncommon Sense. 5.9 million in the building, blessed by the best, no worries, no stress. I want to take this time to talk about my experience on American Idol, right? Just to put it out there, and then I won't have to talk about it no more. Because I understand that I never really talked about it to anybody. But for some strange reason, I want to put it on tape and record it. Anyway, so I'm at church, and there's a group of people came up to me, and they was like, "We're about to go to American Idol. You know, they start auditioning on Tuesday at about 1 o'clock, but you gotta get in line real early, super early, so you can get an audition." So I get convinced to show up. So I immediately go home. I go home and I pack some stuff, and I make like 17 bologna sandwiches, and I got all this stuff, cookies, juice, or whatnot. I get up like 5 in the morning, take the train out to the National Convention Center, right? So I get there about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, probably like 6:30 more, and I stand in line. And I'm probably I'm close to the door, put it that way. And around about that time, they start to come around and they filling out the paperwork, as far as registration and everything. Just trying to get everybody in. And so, as soon as they start the registration, everybody's filing in, and they have this rope line kind of like in the bank, right? But as soon as the front of the line gets to the actual point where they're going to start auditions, the front of the line gets to the front, they stop and they're like, "All right, everybody just sit down." And we're sitting there for about a good hour, sitting there for about a good hour on the floor, confused. What are we gonna do? And then next thing you know, probably like an hour, probably 2 hours. It seemed like 15 years, truth be told. They finally come out and they're like, "All right, auditions are gonna start Tuesday at 12 o'clock. Now this is like 8 in the morning on Monday. So they were like, "Go ahead, do it. Do what you gotta do. Go use the bathroom. Go get something to eat, but make sure you keep your spot." So alright, I'm sitting up there, and I'm sitting there with a group of girls. I kind of like befriend them and whatnot, because my bologna sandwich, it's not like I had them on ice. They already went bad. So, I'm trying to fake like I ain't hungry or whatnot. Because by the time we was just sitting up there talking, people are gathering around. They doing their little acapella, impromptu gospel session, singing to the top of their lungs. And, so finally the girls was like, "We going to Popeyes, you got any money?" I was like, "Nah, I ain't got no money." At the time I was working at Jiffy Heating and Plumbing, and I just, pretty much was like, I didn't even show up the first day, honestly. I didn't even go to work, didn't call or anything, because I was just an apprentice, and 9 times out of 10 when I went up there, they didn't have any work for me anyway, so I automatically went home. So that's like, I was like bumped out. I really didn't care about the job anyway. And I was like, I'm gonna put my all into this, trying to get to American Idol. I'm gonna get me a golden ticket. That was my thing, right? So the next morning, after a rough night sleeping on the floor, I don't even have a sleeping bag. I had like 3 blankets. It's freezing cold. They got AC on up to about 50, because around that time it was 80 degrees outside. It's like the middle of August. So they finally get up, and you know, people are waking up, and their voices all hoarse, because they was the night before up to about 2 or 3 in the morning. They singing to the top of their lungs, just broadcasting and showing off their voice. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, I can't sing. And then they drinking hot tea with lemon and honey and doing all these things trying to get their voice back. Get to the front of the line. They make a stop. They sit there, and they taking like groups at a time. I go in, finally get to go in I go in there probably like 3:30 that Tuesday. Go in, and they have these 4 booths with 3 producers at the table, right? So the 3 producers at the table, and 3 producers at the table, right? And they take 3 people. There's 3 producers. There's about 4 or 5 tables. They take 1 person at a time, and they're giving everybody 30 seconds. When I get up there, I'm like this next person, and everybody's, you know, doing. Some people they like, oh, I don't have my voice, and they get immediately dismissed. And then some people do certain things, and it's like, oh, I forgot. You know, they're so nervous they forget the lines or whatnot. So I get up there, and I was like, because my whole time, I'm going over this Alicia Keys song. But I'm kind of like, I'm not sure if I want to do that song, because it was like, you know, that some people want diamond rings. You know, it was like the hot song right then and there. And everybody was doing it. So I was like, man, what song? I can't do that song because everybody's doing it. And I don't want to go up there, get nervous, and mess up the words. So immediately, while I'm in line, I'm like 3rd person up. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to sing Sardines and Pork and Beans. And I'm going to give them the biggest production ever. You know? And if I do mess up the words, don't nobody would know what I'm singing. So if I do mess up the words, they wouldn't know. So I do this. I'm like, every morning, about 1:45. You know? In the back of my head, I'm hoping that at least somebody in the crowd gonna be like, Sardines! They ain't happen. But you know, the producers love me. They was like, all right, you could come back. And they give me a slip. They say come back. That was Tuesday. They told me to come back on Thursday. Thursday is the auditions for the executive producers, Nigel and all them, you know. And they have like this was at the Renaissance Marriott Hotel that was across the street from the convention center. So they have us in this room. And if you Google Jason Smith on American Idol, it's the first video to pop up, you know. And it'll show, depending on what type of video you're looking at, if you look at the whole episode, they actually, and then on the part where I'm at, you see me practicing for the routine, you know. Because it's like, as soon as we got in there, we started talking, and I started talking to the people that, you know, the regulars, they come up there like every year and they do it. And he's like, the key is to have an angle, a story. They eat the stories up. There was this one girl that she had this wedding ring, and she was like, she came up with this whole storyline about how she lost the wedding ring, and she got it back, and she made up this whole story about a wedding ring. You know, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to come up with a storyline myself, you know. I was like, I got the headband, 5.9% on my headband, whatnot. You know, I was like, you know, they had us doing like little confessionals. I had my thing down. I was the Southeast Slugger, you know. I was living with my sister off of Young Street, off of 22nd, you know. So I was like, I'm the Southeast Slugger, coming out Southeast, representing, you know. I had that thuggish bravado. I had the headband and everything, and so I was just playing on that. And you know, while the cameras was on me, I was doing the. It was the third. It was the thing that the hand motion was supposed to be. It was the third of September, because I was singing Papa Was a Rolling Stone, because I felt like I had this vocal range. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna do Papa Was a Rolling Stone, and I'm gonna do this hand motion. It was the third, and then this one dude, he was over in the corner, and he was like nailing these like backhand flips. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and get up here and try to do that. But I know I can't do a backhand, so I'm gonna fake like I know how to do a backhand, mess up, and then comically get up. You know, all that's in the tape too. So I go in to the and I see Nigel, and it is the first thing that I know it's him, because I was like, because I recognized him from the show, and I'm like, oh, these really are the executive producers. So I get like hella nervous, and I stayed up till about 3 in the morning, practicing my dance moves and whatnot. I came in there, I had some slacks on and a button-down white shirt, and I start singing the song, Papa Was a Rolling Stone, but I can't remember the words. And I'm like, just give me one more shot. They were like, no, I don't think so. No. And I was like, just give me one more shot, right? And then Nigel's like, all right, the theme song that we're going to come on for this episode is America the Beautiful. That's going to be the whole theme for every episode or something like that. Or maybe that was just one particular episode that we were going to be on. So he was like singing America the Beautiful. So I started singing that, you know, knowing the word. I knew them words since elementary school, when they made us sing that, you know, back in elementary school. Valley View represent. So holla at your boy. So I started singing that, nailed that joint. They was like, yeah. Alright, just go. They was like, they sent me through. They was like, yeah, just keep going. Dude, learn the Papa Was a Rolling Stone. We feel you on the 5-part harmony. We gonna go ahead and send you through. After that, I leave out. They like everybody, cause right now we have like, it's almost like, you know, instant family. We've been in it for a week, so there's like a group of people, like we clenching together. You know, we supporting each other. You know, uplifting each other. You know, cause we're in it, and it's like. So I came out, and they were like, did you make it? And I was like, yeah. And they was like, yeah, we made it too. And then, you know, they ushered us down the hallway, did a little photo shoot and whatnot, did the confessionals, keep rolling, you know. I probably got about 30 minutes of extra tape, just me presenting this 5.9 character, you know. So next day, come in, do the it's time for the celebrity judges. So the first thing, before I go in, you know, right about this time, it's cut down to 20 people. Well, cut down to 125 people, right? And right before I go in, there's this dude, and he has saddle salt. And he's like, dude, do you want some of this? Because before I was went down with the button-down white tee and the slacks and the dress shoes, and my sister was like, nah, you gotta go in there, you know, a little bit more street. So I put on some blue jeans. I forgot, it was some all white shoes, I forgot, and this t-shirt, that my grandmother had sent me, because it said represent on it. And I wore that with the headband. And I didn't wear the headband with the button down or whatever, whatnot. The headband came later. And I went up there and I came in the room, and immediately something came over me, right? Like, it wasn't like a fear or anything, but it was like a great sense of awareness. And the Spirit said to me, is this what you really want? And I was like, nah. And I looked down and I felt the floor, and it's like a parquet floor, but it's bone dry. And that's when I was like, I should have took that saddle soap. And then it's like immediately they like, go ahead and sing. I mean, not immediately, but we had a conversation probably about 5 minutes. They asking me where I get the 5.9 from. I told them, I had stopped drinking, and he was like, okay, let's get into it. So I started singing, and the room is set up to where there was like no acoustics. And then the floor is bone dry, so I can't do the dance moves that I've been practicing all night, but I was practicing on carpet with the dress shoes. And I didn't realize that I couldn't pull off these same maneuvers with these tennis shoes that I had. I think I had on some K-Swiss or something. No, I had Reeboks on. So I went in there and I did my thing. I couldn't hear myself. First time, I mean, I'm full of nerves or whatever, whatnot. They smiling at me and nodding, like, giving their comments. And the whole time I'm looking at Paula like, I don't know. But it was like, it's almost like we were talking with our mouths, but at the same time we having this mental conversation. I mean, that's what it felt like to me, And it's like, she just had this look on her face like, this ain't for you. But at the same time, and I was thinking to myself, you're right. I just want to walk up out of here and just let it be done. And then what really canceled it out was when Randy was like, dude, you just not ready for Hollywood. I mean, you alright, but you just not ready. I mean, a lot of that stuff got cut out, editing room floor, but, the one thing that I wanted to leave with was my dignity. I was not going to leave that joint crying. I mean, I didn't feel like I was slighted I don't feel like I was the least bit slighted, I was able to, beat out 15,000 people in the first audition. Second audition was cut down to like 300 people. The third audition only had like 125 people. So it was like, it wasn't a losing situation for me, And I didn't care a whole lot if I made the episode or I didn't. you know. But I was just sized up when they started showing the promos, and I was in it. Like, truth be told, you know, a part of me was like, kind of like anticipating the episode 2 because of the simple fact that it's like kind of like a delusional thinking, like I was going to see something that didn't really happen, you know? But at the same time, you know, God had bigger plans for me. I mean, I don't know what those type of plans are going to be, but at the same time, you know, I went through some stuff in the past 11 years, and I became stronger, you know, and I'm starting to be comfortable in my own skin. And that's probably the take home that you bought. That's the take home that I want you to have right now, you know, being comfortable with who you are. That's all I got to say. I'll let your boy be back in a minute.